Welcome to Real Talk with Glen and Mike, the show that gives you real, raw, and unfiltered conversations with your favorite African thought leaders and trendsetters.
Mhoroi, Mhoroi, Mhoroi. Waking up and get the money, man.
Yo, guys, to be honest, I was recording already, and that's the craziness with the guests that we have today. Energy and craziness. Welcome to Real Talk with Glen and Mike. We've got Mbonisi today, and she's energy, as you can see that. Hi, Mbonisi.
Hi, how are you?
What are you dancing to?
Must we pretend like we haven't been chatting just now?
Okay, all right. now you've just put me on the spot. But again, I'm asking the same. We were chatting, yeah, but what are you dancing to?
I was actually listening to this new song by Yemi Alade. It's called True Love. I like it. It goes da 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 solo da 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 da. I love African music, so yeah, I just found that on the internet. That's what I was listening to, just to prepare me for
I was
this.
going to say I'm a piano, but I was so wrong.
You love piano? Are you a piano muntu?
Sure. No way. We'll talk later. Glenn.
we are talking already. So yeah. We're grateful that Mbonisi is here. She's agreed to do this with us. And I should say this for the viewers back home and everybody who's watching this, that it wasn't even hard. I know your usual celebrities are like, hey, and they'll be like, talk to my PR, talk to my manager, then I'll come over. But this is one really down-to-earth, humble celebrity. I mean, I really appreciate that.
Well, the next time, I'm just joking.
What do you think about the next time? But for those that do not know who Mbonisi is, I'm just going to ask Mbonisi to introduce herself. I think a lot of us know her as Mbo Mahocs.
Oh yeah. Thank you. Oh yeah, okay. Thank you so much for calling me Mbonisi. Because also, I call myself Mbo Mahocs. Mbonisi is my first name, and every time people ask me, who are you? I go back to what my name means. My name is Ndebele Zulu word referring to God, who sees, who leads, who guides, God the overseer. So I think that's who I am. That's what's guided. That's the umbrella for who I am.
So Mbonisi, you live in South Africa, and you have just said that your name is Ndebele, Zulu name. What is your heritage? Where do you come from?
I come from Bulawayo. I was born in Bulawayo to a South African mother and a Zimbabwean father. My mom is Sutu, so thanks to her, Glenn,
Glenn, you're in trouble today. No stress. I don't know about Glenn. I can't Glenn because
guys, I can understand. I just can't. But it's all right. It's okay. But I feel like that's richness in your background, where you come from, and the fact that you have embraced all of those things to make you who you are. I mean, people haven't really got into the deep Mbonisi, but I think when you heard her say what her name means, you can already see that we have an opera side in Mbonisi. Could ask her to start her own podcast, Super Soul Conversations, and it will still rock.
Oh, yeah.
I'm really curious. We're gonna fast forward a little to get to your breakout in South Africa. Well, it's not an easy thing being someone from another nation to break out into a completely new industry or a different industry, one that is already populated, one that is already saturated.
Wow.
Mbo, you did it. How did you do it?
Well, again, thank you for saying you did it, because I think we don't acknowledge ourselves enough, even like with the little things that we do, like the little victories, we don't celebrate that. Glenn has been encouraging me so much, and I've been saying, wait, stop calling me a celebrity. I haven't done anything, because you don't see it. And I think also that's the part of me that's never comfortable. I always just want to keep on pushing, keep on working on the next big thing, or challenging myself to stretch myself, And it wasn't easy at all, coming into a country where nobody knows you, bearing in mind that back home, I'd already kind of built a foundation of who Mbo Mahocs is. And starting over, starting afresh, I struggled with that so much. I had so many moments with myself where I had regrets. I thought maybe I should have stayed back at home. But also there was a reason that pulled me to come here. So that really like, okay, this is where the English evaporates. I don't know what to say, and you're like,
Why is it? Let me tell you. So I always tell people that I speak to, after 5 p.m. my English runs away, so it's all right.
the English bundle is running out.
After my English vocab goes.
No, man, it's the passion. It's the passion. It's having that drive. It's staying hungry, being hungry, just knowing what you want, and just staying in that zone. Doesn't matter what you face, what you challenge, you go through it. And
how many times do you have to humble yourself? I can only imagine how many. You're coming from a place where people respect you and people know you're a big thing, and then you come and you have to start again. How many times do people look at you like, who does this person think she is? Humble yourself, bruh.
Yeah, and you know, like with back home, and I remember I was used to like going into events, just using my screen,
yes.
where they think like, oh, it's Mo, come in.
Yes, please, get.
Oh, did you hear that? Using my what? Using my screen.
I didn't mean it that way. Like I just meant like just being a popular face. You know, when people know me,
I know.
It's Mo, let's her in. How many are your friends? Oh, there's the 3 of you. Oh, just come in, you know. And here it's totally different, you know, and because no one knows you. And that's the humbling part of it. And also, I think the fact that from the beginning, I was juggling between my professional work and entertainment. It humbled me as well, because over the weekend, you're this superstar, and then you have to come back home. Or you have to come back to work where nobody knows that about you, and you're expected to produce results and be a different person. So that is humbling for me. Or even just being at home, you know, coming back home where your parents don't call you Mbo Mahocs.
Hey, what about this?
You remind me of
so that for me is what grounds me, just going back home and being myself.
Before I ask you the next question, Bo, you remind me of this joke that people say on Twitter, yeah? Like you know how internet kids over time wake up and you have like 100,000 people following you, or maybe 20K people following you. Hold on. I'm going somewhere with that. So one of these kids then says, when I'm at home and when my mom shouts at me, sometimes I'm tempted to ask her, do you know who I am?
Do you know who I am?
Oh, you know, I can make it trend, you know? And when you say that, you go back home and sometimes you're in that space where your mom doesn't call you Mbo Mahocs, you're Monisi, you're her daughter. And everywhere you go, you know, you have people like Mike and Glen that look at you as a superstar, and you are. And to have that balance is sometimes a bit hard. I'm not speaking because I've experienced it. I'm just trying to be in your shoes.
Yeah.
I'll say this. When you say the screen thing, you are beautiful. And how does that shape your entry into acting? Is it you realize, you know what, I actually am photogenic. I have the genes for this. I'm lovely to look at. Or it was just passion besides knowing all that, and then people start telling you, but you know, you're beautiful like me. Did that play a part anyway in influencing you wanting to be in front of the camera?
Man, that's the thing about sometimes having talent and not being arrogant about it. There's some things that you really don't see or notice. I'm being very, very honest. There's sometimes where, because I'm a woman, there's sometimes where I'm uncomfortable with my body or the way I look or certain things. And this is what every woman goes through. I don't know about you guys. Yeah, if you have, everybody has that. So sometimes, that's not, for me, that's not the focus. Mm-hmm. That's not the focus that, I'm a pretty girl, I can get whatever I want, or I've never like really used my face. It's here.
No, I didn't mean in terms of like saying, hey, I'm pretty, give me the thing. But obviously, I mean, we can't run away from the fact that the camera loves you. I mean, obviously we can't run away from that fact. And sometimes, you know, there are things that lead you to your calling, right? For example, I speak, right? I just speak generally on and off the camera. So it's natural for me to have a radio show, for example, if that opportunity comes. But it doesn't mean that when I was growing up, I always wanted to be a radio presenter. It just means, oh, but Glen can speak.
Yeah.
And so even though you're not going to producers and be like, hey, hire me because I'm a pretty face, but you sort of get used to say, oh, if I'm on camera, people love that. So my question really was, did you realize when you're already in acting that, you know, people think you're beautiful, or you already knew and you're like, I can make that work for me?
No, man. Like I told you, it comes from the heart.
Mm-hmm.
And here, I've always known that's the space that I want to be in. It's only now that I look back and I realize, wait a minute, this thing has been following me. I've never like sat down and calculated and said, I want to be this girl that's like, you know, I've never sat down and calculated that and said, okay, one day I'm going to be a celebrity. The only driving force was, I'm going to be in entertainment. That I knew. I have specifically a photograph of me and my dad in my first school play. And it is only now that I look back and I say, wait a minute, but this has been there since day one. It's something that I was born with, you know? And then from there, that's where you realize, okay, I have a talent. Let me try and steer it towards learning and honing the craft, because skill goes with talent. Talent is not enough on its own, which is why already after my A-levels, I wanted to study towards drama. I knew what I wanted to do. And sometimes you don't even know where that, funny enough, is coming from. You just have this drive, man. You just are drawn towards something. Sometimes you don't even look for it. It finds you. You don't even look for it. It's just there. It's like it looks for you. Hey, Mbo, can you please come and host? I'm like, I've never spoken in front of people before. And then you do that, and then you realize, wait a minute, I enjoy this. This feels so comfortable. Maybe I can do it. Let me try a little bit more and gain my confidence. Or let me do some lessons or study towards something that can help me build my confidence and be an eloquent speaker, you know? So that's how it builds up. And without you realizing, because this is something that has been instilled in you from day one, you beautifully grow into it. I don't know how many people realize what they are meant to be in this world. Because I think so many people are caught up in careers that they're not even supposed to be in. I think it's also having the courage to find that and be that, because it's one of the most difficult things. It doesn't come with an educational certificate that, oh, I hold a PhD in this. It's talent, comes from God. You linking the mathematics to make it work for you monetarily, and we want the easy way out. Oh, I studied this, I want to be employed by someone else so that I can earn a salary. But you know, with my craft, it's difficult. You have to do the numbers yourself.
I got deep real quick. I like that. Now let's go back to your life. Going to Zetrum in Mhoroi.
Man, I love home. I love home.
Look at how she smiles when she says,
"Oh, I love home."
Like I can tell that.
So, of course, before the interview, I've known. We have a lot of mutual friends, by the way. Yes, we do.
Like, this is what
cool.
Before we record.
I've known of you for a very, very long time. It's actually very intriguing that I get to meet you now. But one thing they've highlighted is your progression within your career. I know when you did Thatha Wena, for example, when you hosted all these big events in Zimbabwe, how valuable is that to you in terms of your craft? If you look at where you're at right now and you measure that, how much do you think how much of a big role did that play?
Man, it's a constant learning process. Like the same way I am still nervous before an event, before I get to host, before I go on set or anything.
Even when you do it back home?
Sorry?
Even when you host events back home, you still...
Yes. Every moment, every different event, because it's different. There's a different crowd. There's a different energy. there's something to learn every step of the way. I promise you. You can never get used to it. I still freak out, like when I have to host an event, or I'm told, and I'm like, I constantly kind of have to remind myself, is this really what you want?
Mhm.
Because there's that moment of doubt that comes, like, are you really sure you're doing this?
Mhm.
You know, and then I always say it's always the first 5-10 minutes, and then you melt into it, and then it's just natural. But then there's always something new to learn, you know. It's like when I landed my first role on Scandal, I had no acting background. I didn't study drama or anything like that. I wanted to, but then I couldn't afford it, so I never actually went to university to study towards drama. And after that first experience, I realized I know nothing about when they say we're going for a close-up, and I'm like, what's a close-up? You know, so that's what taught me that talent is not enough.
Right.
So I went back to the drawing board and I had to learn. You're constantly learning. It doesn't stop. It's like you're in a school, and that's life.
Which leads to another thing that I'd like you to speak to. You've touched on two very important things in any career in general: talent and, of course, the drill, the want to do it. But there's also the importance of networking. For you to be able to land that role at Scandal, acting experience, it's not easy. There's already people who have acting experience who want that role. And so can you speak to the importance of networking, especially in such an industry where everything is not just based on talent, where everything is not based on want?
Yeah, very, very, very important, because also it's like a very small industry, which is why you need to guard, like, with your loins, like with everything. When you get to work with people, that is where you create your CV. That's your CV. When you go to an event and you meet people, it's you selling out your CV. The way, for me, the way you dress, the way you look, the way you leave an impact, the way you respect other people, and it's all of that. That's your CV. The way you carry yourself. I was going to talk about how you, like, the importance of carrying yourself also in a very respectable and okay, this meeting no longer has time.
Ignore it.
Oh, okay, sorry. I was disrupted by that.
It's Glenn who's being naughty.
What
It's important, man. What?
The message popped up, so that's what distracted her.
Oh, I see.
Ask Isma, you can continue.
Oh, Ngobavela, it's a small industry, man. Ubani knows Ubani, Ubani knows Ubani. And if you sell yourself well, in a good way, not just in J, you know. If you sell yourself well, that's what leads you to the next gig, because you never know where your next gig is going to come from. Yeah. So it's in every way. It's in everywhere. And it's important also to just attend, go to places, be interested to be interesting. You can't just be sitting at home and be like, oh, okay, fine. Of course, now we're under lockdown and everything. But when things are open, you know, learn, Google something, read, you know, find out about people that inspire you. For me, you know, like when I watch maybe just a local series, like maybe let's say Gomorrah, I always look into the credits. Always say, who's the director? I make it my business to know who's directing the show, who's the producer, who's the writer. And I make it my business to know those people, so that when I bump into them, you know, and now it's easy. It's easy. You see a name, you go on your social media, you look it up, you find them, you follow them, you send them an inbox. Hey, I'm Mbo Mahocs and I'm from Zim. I'm passionate about art and I'd like us to do a film that is related on ABCD. Do you think we could maybe work together and do something? It's become so easy for us. You know, Twitter, hashtag, you tag Uspani, follow their work. And that's one thing that has helped me so much, you know. It's so important. Like I said, it's like a CV, creating a CV.
You know what I like from you is that you connect the dots perfectly. When you talk about going back to the drawing board, for people that may not know, that actually is the metaphor of your life, is it not? Because I don't know why you're not intimating on this to the people listening and to Mike, but you have talked before about your professional life and balancing that with your acting and your, you know, your passion. And for those that don't know, I hope I'm not crossing bounds. When I'm saying that drawing board is a metaphor for you, you are an architect. You studied architecture, right? But when people look at you, they don't know all of these things and how. But I see when you talk and when you act and the way you carry yourself, all of these things, they make you who you are. So I'm going to ask you a question to say, when you were studying architecture, for example, and doing this, did you know how all of it was going to come together to this moment where you're actually living your passion day in, day out? Or you were just like, oh, this is what I have to do, I'm just going to do that?
You know, it's so funny because sometimes you do some things and you don't know that everything happens for a reason. There was probably a reason. I may not have wanted to pursue that architectural side, but then it's come back into my life now again. So there was obviously a reason, and I'm literally thinking of a construction company. I mean, why not generate the acting following to generate me some income in my professional work? See if it could work like that. It's merging together beautifully the way maybe it's supposed to happen. You never plan these things, man. You never plan, but like I always say, it's important to just have an educational background. Even with whatever you delve yourself into, it helps you with the calculation, the mathematics of planning out life. Just that education in the back, it's different when you don't have that, you know, when you don't know, you won't know how to handle other things. But I think I'm also fortunate that architecture is like a very creative space, which allows you to really blow out and come up with creative ideas and imagination and stuff. And that's already part of who I am, that I'm a very creative person. And I just channeled that into what I am doing now. By the way, maybe I should let you know that architecture wasn't in my initial idea to study.
Oh.
My dad, after I went back home and things had failed here in South Africa, this was, I think, in 2011, 12, my dad suggested, hey, why don't you study architecture? Because that's the field that he's in. And I stayed for something like a year. I didn't go to school or anything. Wilaya Polytechnic. I remember I had a brother that was accompanying me to go there. I didn't even want to go there. Until the lecturers called me and said, hey, Mbo, we haven't seen you in class for like 2 weeks. Are you okay? And I was forced to go. And I remember sitting in the classroom and often feeling like I could fly out through the window because I felt like I didn't belong. And then there was a mind shift. And I thought to myself, okay, let me give myself a chance and try. Maybe I can actually do this thing. I think also because in my mind, I hated anything that had to do with calculating, mathematics and stuff like that. I'm a literal person. I love literature. That's me, over anything scientific and mathematical. And so I thought, let me give myself a chance. And my exams for my first year, I slayed through them. Like I passed all my subjects in my first year. And I thought, hold on, maybe I can actually do this. And that is the attitude that I've adopted now with everything else that I set my mind to. I'll tell myself, maybe I can actually do this. And I have discovered that actually, if I put my mind to anything, I can literally become that which I want to be. If I want to do films today, I say, okay, I just need equipment. Not even equipment, my camera, and I start recording stories. I can literally be that filmmaker that I want. So sometimes it's necessary to just go through a journey. That's why I say it's a constant learning process. There's something that you pick up from there and it grooms you and shapes you into who you are. I can't even remember what you asked me, but
Sorry.
That's the art of speaking, bro, where one point flows to the next.
Yeah. I thought I just needed to tell you where this archi comes from because it wasn't initially there and somebody put it there because my dad thought, hey girl, you're going to be such a powerful woman if you, and I feel like, you know, it's something that I think I want to do now, actually. because I have two brothers, and unfortunately my dad has milked them into this whole Archie story. I used to call it Archie torture. That's what I used to
There is a creative side again.
Yeah, and so now, you know, it's helping me structure and create the life that I want to live for myself. I can actually balance both. Why not? Why not?
I know that. Oh, sorry, Mike. I know that you said you're creative and that you're more on the literary side. Literally,
Yeah.
We go to the word I'm comfortable with here. One of the things I've seen, for example, on your Instagram stories, the thing that I found the most compelling, because when I knew that I was going to do this interview with you, I literally stalked you. I wanted to know, who is this person? There's this, I think you were about to go on set, and I think you were listening to Amanda Black. Is it a poem there? I loved it. And I was like, okay, so this is her inspiration, you know? And again, time and time again, Bo, I see that you post those pictures of sunsets, or you just being in nature. What is your creative routine? Like, if you want to plug into that creative zone, what do you do?
I listen to music. I listen to music. I don't even know the language, but like I'll listen to it. I'll jam into it. And, you know, I have days where I am like really on a high and I don't even know where it comes from. I don't smoke. I'm like, and I don't even know where this high comes from. And I'm just naturally just there. And that is my space to create music. When I'm about to go and sit and I'm feeling nervous, music. When I'm feeling low and sad and I need some inspiration, music. When, like, I don't even know why I'm not doing music, but it's music. And also at the same time, I'm a very private and centered person. I think I enjoy being alone, because sometimes, I'm about to just maybe tap into something a little bit.
Let's go.
There's something called an empath. I'm not sure what an empath is.
Yeah.
I'm an empath. So sometimes this is weird, but I don't enjoy being around people because I pick up energies and I can almost see or feel or sense what somebody else is going through, and that energy weighs on me. And it's very difficult because I work with people. So sometimes it's like, this whole energy weighs on me, which is why I need to constantly center myself. Me centering myself now is breaking out into nature, in those solitude moments where I can be alone, where I can listen to my voice, when I can listen to myself and just be with nothing and just myself and come back to myself. Usually after hosting an event, because it takes so much from me, it saps so much energy because you give so much of yourself, which comes from within. And it weighs on you, and there's people that like you, there's people that don't like you. All of that is words that are exerted into space, and they come onto you as energy. So usually after that, I just go back into my nature shallow. I shut down, I switch up for a whole day. I don't do nothing, just me, nothing. I don't even go on my social media. I don't even read if people were excited about the event or how I was dressed, or if someone is critiquing me. I don't even care about that. Day two, switch off, and just to come back to myself, because that is so important. It's the voices because there's so many voices of other people. So it's so important to listen to yours. Where are you? Who are you? Whose are you? Otherwise, you listen to all these voices and then you go crazy. Oh, what is this that you are wearing? Oh, she doesn't even look nice. Oh, couldn't she have worn red or something else? There's all of those. Oh, she's not even amazing. Oh, But then you need to remind yourself that I'm enough. I am beautiful. I have this energy. I can do this. There's always that doubt. So you don't want to listen to the voice, that the doubtful voice. It's good when you take negative criticism like constructively. It's fine, but then don't let it consume you. I don't do that. Like, I'm so selfish with myself.
Yes, I like what you just said. Yes, like you touched me inside. But now I experience the same thing within the field that I work outside of Real Talk, whereby I am on air and you see my comments, and then you go off and you're on social media and you see my comments, and then abanye abantu vele they'll even come looking for you and they'll give you unnecessary feedback and so forth. And I inherit all this energy to a stage and point whereby even in my private space, when I'm off TV, I'm sitting by myself and going, was that true? Was that this? Was that that? Like you're starting to validate these points that came from nowhere. And so how do you make sure, outside of just going out in you know, in nature and sitting down with your thoughts, in that moment, how do you remind yourself, this is who you are, not what this person is saying? I lash it. I even lash from so, you know.
Trust me, so many times I want to lash off and say, yeah, what's routine? You know what? Like because I'm from Bulawayo. We call a spade a spade. And you know, my mom is very vocal and vulgar as well. I think it also just comes from the fact that she's Sotho. My mom speaks her mind. So we grew up in a place where you say what you think, you know. So now I've realized, I've come to the decision that there's two people in one person here. There's Mbo Mahocs and then there's Mbonisi.
Yeah.
So Mbo Mahocs needs to know when she needs to come out and be, and then Mbonisi also needs to know her place. You can't cloud the two. Otherwise, there's one that needs to come before, because now you realize, which my life is not my own. It belongs to other people. So you can't just say nothing and just really chop and just say whatever it is that you need to be careful. Doesn't mean that you're pretending. You can still be yourself, but you just need to be, you center your word. You're careful about your words. You can't just enjoy kulumi.
So which would say there's some, oh, sorry, Glenn. I don't know why I keep breaking into vernacular.
If I spoke what I thought, nobody would like me.
So that means that there's some people who know Mbonis and there's some people who know Mbo Mahocs.
And the people who know Mbonisi are very few.
Few, exactly.
Very few.
Thank you.
This is the one thing I figured from talking to her when we were doing the draft. I could tell she generally guts that Mbonisi is.
No offense to everybody we've interviewed so far. This is actually my favorite. Anyway, I did say no offense. I'm saying disclaimer.
Right.
But then also it's like these things that you can't fake, you know? What you see is what you get. There's things that you can't fake, like your energy, your personality. You see the whole time, sometimes when I'm just being crazy, that's me.
That's
There's
you,
things that are just there that you can't hide. But then also, there's this lovely saying that says, exploit your celebrity, but guard your privacy. Something like that. You know that saying?
Right.
We're not.
So how do you navigate those two? As a celebrity,
I actually haven't exploited my celebrity.
but as a celebrity, you belong to the people, right?
Yeah, that's true.
And so when people give you when people criticize, be it negative or positive, there's a certain part of you that has to allow them to express themselves more. They are basically a part of who you are. They make you who you are. And so how do you distinguish between, or where do you draw the line? Let me say that, to say, guys, well, now this is my private life. And because at times that line gets really blurry. I don't know the difference between, for myself personally, I'm always on work. And so when people criticize, I'm like, okay. But I know some people need that privacy to say, whoa, guys, this is my private time. Time for umbonis. How do you draw that line?
I feel like it's you control who you are and what you give to people. I have moments where I feel like maybe sometimes I'm giving too much of myself, but then also in me giving too much of like yesterday, I was feeling terrible, man. I was missing home. Like I literally I even feel like crying now because like I miss home, I miss my family, I miss my mom, the way she I could go on. And I was sharing this on my Insta story. And in a moment, I thought to myself, are you not giving too much of yourself? But then I thought to myself, Uguti, I think people sometimes there's this world that we like to create worlds that doesn't exist, and I'm not that person, you know. I'll share my struggles when I'm down, when I'm feeling at a loss or anything, because my life is not my own, somebody can get something from that. By me sharing, someone can relate to that and be like in my inbox, hey, you know what, I'm actually also feeling like this. And it helps somebody, because naturally I also like enjoy helping people. So but it goes to a certain extent.
Mhoroi, Mhoroi, Mhoroi. Waking up and get the money, man.